I never imagined the woman I planned to marry would humiliate me in front of millions of strangers. But the first time I watched the video, I felt something inside me crack. It was a late Friday night, and I had just finished cleaning the kitchen after cooking dinner for Maya, something she had barely acknowledged before disappearing into her office to edit content. When I heard my name on her live stream, I thought she was talking about me affectionately the way she used to, back when things were still simple between us. But as soon as her words hit my ears, every muscle in my body went stiff. She was laughing full, performative laughter, and calling me the least ambitious man she had ever dated. She said it casually, like she was describing the weather, and her audience erupted with laughter, encouraging her to go on. I watched in disbelief as she continued, face glowing in ring light perfection, mocking my 9-to-5 job and telling viewers how emotionally needy I supposedly was. It wasn't teasing. It wasn't lighthearted. It was mean, intentional, and humiliating. Her tone had that sharp little edge she used whenever she wanted to seem relatable to her followers, something she often said mattered more than being honest. The worst part wasn't even her words. It was the way she said them, with a playful smirk that made me realize she felt completely comfortable tearing me apart publicly. As if I wasn't her partner, as if I wasn't a person at all. I sat frozen for a long moment before forcing myself to shut the video off. But it was too late. Notifications were already popping up on my phone, friends sending me shocked messages, coworkers texting awkwardly, and even my cousin asking if I was okay. My stomach churned. I didn't know what hurt more, knowing the world was laughing at me or realizing Maya had deliberately created a situation where they could. When I finally stood, it felt like my legs barely belonged to me. I walked toward her office quietly, trying to gather the courage to ask why she would do something so cruel. When I opened the door, she was still at her desk, scrolling through comments, smiling at the screen like nothing was wrong. The ring light was still on, casting her in a warm glow that made her look almost angelic, completely at odds with the venom she had just spit. I leaned against the doorframe, trying to keep my voice steady as I said, "Maya, why would you say those things about me?" She didn't even turn around at first. She just exhaled sharply, like my question was an inconvenience. When she finally looked at me, her expression was flat and dismissive. "Oh my God, Evan, relax. It was a joke. You take everything so seriously." A joke. That was all she offered. I felt myself slip into a strange numbness. That kind of emotional autopilot where you know you're hurt but you can't afford to fall apart yet. Millions of people saw that, I said quietly. My boss saw it. My family saw it. She rolled her eyes as if I were being childish. "It's engagement," she replied. "People love honesty and humor. It builds the brand. Don't be dramatic." The dismissiveness in her voice felt like a slap. I stepped back slowly, feeling the weight of something I didn't want to acknowledge. This wasn't the first time she'd used our relationship for content, but it was the first time she'd crossed a line so blatantly. Lately, everything in our lives had become potential material for her. Feed our dates, our arguments, our private moments. I had convinced myself it was just part of her career, that supporting her meant accepting her lifestyle. But this felt like betrayal wrapped in neon lights and broadcast to the world. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard her laughter echoing in my head. By morning, the video had gone viral. Her followers were reposting clips, tagging me, and making jokes at my expense. Some called me pathetic. Others suggested she could do way better. Every comment felt like a tiny dagger. When I confronted Maya again, she brushed me off with the same line. "It's just content, Evan," before heading out for a brunch collaboration, like my humiliation didn't matter at all. But something else happened that morning, something I didn't expect. Mixed in with the insults and mockery were a handful of comments worded differently. Comments that sounded like warnings. Poor guy. If only he knew. Funny how she's calling him unfaithful when she's bold to talk about ambition considering what she's been doing. At first, I ignored them, assuming they were just trolls stirring drama. But as the hours passed, the comments multiplied, and they were getting more specific. That was the moment I realized something was very, very wrong with the woman I thought I knew. By Sunday morning, The viral sting of Maya's video had settled into a dull, constant ache in my chest. Normally, weekends were our quiet time together, making coffee, watching something mindless, pretending we weren't always busy. But now, the apartment felt colder, like the air itself knew something between us had snapped. I sat alone at the kitchen table, scrolling through an endless stream of comments that grew more unsettling with every refresh. The warnings weren't stopping. In fact, they were becoming pointed. One comment in particular caught my eye, posted anonymously but already gaining traction. Crazy how she talks about loyalty when she's at Nico's penthouse every week. I stared at it for a long moment, the name repeating in my mind, until it felt like an echo. Nico. It wasn't a common name, at least not in our circle. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as I searched his profile, and it only took seconds to find him a fitness influencer with nearly 5 million followers, known for his exclusive elite retreats. His entire feed was curated to perfection. Yachts, rooftop parties, champagne-soaked gatherings with flawless people. The kind of lifestyle that seemed pulled straight out of a fantasy. I scrolled further and froze. 3 weeks ago, he had posted a photo from a high-rise balcony at night. The view looked familiar. My stomach twisted as I realized I had seen that skyline before from the living room of a penthouse where Maya once filmed a brand shoot she claimed was part of a collab. She had been cagey about it then, but I assumed it was standard influencer stuff. Looking back now, the memory felt different, warped by doubt. Before I could stop myself, I checked her calendar on the fridge. 3 Wednesdays in a row, she had blocked off time with vague labels like shoot, creator meetup, and content consultation. She never mentioned who she worked with, but each of those days matched the dates on Nico's stories showing someone just out of frame, laughter at the edge of the clip, or a shadow on the wall. My heart began to race, but my mind fought back, refusing to jump to conclusions. I needed more than suspicions. I walked toward her office and hesitated before knocking. Her door was open just a crack. She was on a video call, speaking softly but urgently. And although I knew I shouldn't listen, I couldn't force myself to walk away. "I can't talk long," she whispered. "He's been acting weird. I think he saw something." My lungs froze. She sounded nervous, not guilty, not apologetic, but anxious about being caught. "Just stop posting anything with that view," she added before ending the call abruptly. When the call disconnected, I pushed the door open as casually as I could. Maya jumped, then quickly masked the reaction with a smile far too bright to be genuine. "Hey," she said lightly. "Want breakfast?" I watched her carefully, searching her face for a hint of the woman I thought I knew. She avoided eye contact, fidgeting with her phone before placing it face down on the desk. "Who were you talking to?" I asked. My voice sounded far calmer than I felt. She shrugged. "Just a brand manager. Nothing interesting." It wasn't the lie that hurt most. It was how easily she said it. We spent the rest of the morning in stiff silence. And for the first time in years, Maya chose to go out alone on a Sunday. "Content to film," she mumbled before slipping out the door. I watched her leave, then slowly sank onto the couch, head in my hands. The comments, the secrecy, the whispered call, it all pointed towards something I didn't want to accept. But the universe wasn't done shoving clues in my face. Around noon, I received a message request from an account with no profile picture. Normally, I'd ignore it, but the preview read, "You deserve to know the truth about Maya." My pulse spiked. Hesitantly, I opened it. The message contained screenshots, private DMs between Maya and someone named Nico. They weren't flirtatious. They were explicit, filled with inside jokes, late-night plans, and references to nights spent together at the penthouse. One message from Maya read, "He still thinks it's work. He's so trusting, it's almost sad." My hands shook so violently I nearly dropped the phone. I didn't respond. I didn't know if it was real at first, but the timestamps, the tone, the grammar, all of it sounded like her. Too much like her. And if that weren't enough, the sender followed up with a short video clip of Maya entering a luxury building late at night, hair tied up in a bun I recognized instantly. She wasn't alone. Nico held the door open for her, hand resting on the small of her back with unsettling familiarity. My chest tightened painfully, and for a moment I couldn't breathe. Everything suddenly made sense: the distance, the dismissiveness, the way she treated me like just another prop in her online persona. I had been clinging to a version of her that no longer existed, or maybe had never truly existed at all. But the worst part, the more viral her joking video became, the more these anonymous accounts showed up, some mocking, but others hinting that her cruelty wasn't just cruelty, it was projection. She wasn't making fun of me because she thought I was boring or unambitious. She was distracting her audience from the truth that was about to catch up to her. And as Sunday evening settled in, another message arrived, this time with a name I recognized. It wasn't a stranger. It was Maya's best friend, and she had something to tell me. When Maya's best friend, Lila Moreno, messaged me, I stared at her name for a long time before opening the chat. Lila wasn't the type to get involved. She hated drama, avoided conflict like it was contagious, and was loyal to Maya to a fault. So the fact that she was reaching out at all told me something was very, very wrong. Her first message was blunt. We need to talk. In person. My pulse hammered in my ears as I read it again, unsure whether to feel terrified or relieved. We met at a small cafe near the river, one Maya and I used to frequent. The place felt haunted with memories of better days, and sitting across from Lila only amplified the hollow ache in my chest. She looked anxious, her leg bouncing beneath the table, fingers twisting the edge of her sweater. She kept glancing around, as if expecting Maya to materialize from thin air and catch her, betraying her. When she finally spoke, her voice trembled. I should have said something months ago. I leaned back, the chair creaking under me. About what? I asked, even though the answer seemed obvious and excruciatingly predictable now. Lila swallowed hard, eyes shining with guilt. About Maya and Nico. The name hit me like a punch to the ribs, sharp, breath-stealing, humiliating. I didn't interrupt, letting her talk, even though every word she said twisted deeper into me like a blade. According to Lila, Maya had been seeing Nico for nearly 4 months, sneaking around under the guise of brand work and collabs, while I sat at home editing her content or planning our future. It started as a flirtation during a fitness retreat she attended for a sponsorship, but it escalated quickly: late-night drives, private parties, and eventually spending entire days together while pretending she was overbooked. The betrayal stung, but what made my vision blur with anger was that Lila admitted she'd confronted Maya twice. Both times, Maya brushed her off, insisting it was just physical and that I didn't need to know. As if I were some disposable background character in her glamorous online life, Lila continued, revealing things I never would have imagined. Maya bragged about how easy it was to keep me distracted. She claimed I was comfortable and stable, the type of partner who made her look grounded to brands. But Nico made her feel expensive, desirable, and untouchable. Hearing those words, even secondhand, made my stomach churn so violently I had to grip the table to steady myself. Lila apologized repeatedly, tears gathering in her lashes, but I barely heard her over the buzzing in my head. When she finally slid her phone across the table, I forced myself to look. Photos, screenshots, videos, proof of every lie. Every moment she said she was working. Every evening she claimed she was too exhausted to talk. In one video, Maya laughed in Nico's arms while mocking people who date average guys for stability instead of leveling up. My jaw locked so hard I felt pain shoot up into my temples. I had known the truth the night before, but seeing it this clearly broke something in me that I didn't realize could still break. Lila tried to explain that she kept quiet because she hoped Maya would end things before I found out. She didn't want to ruin our relationship if Maya planned to come clean eventually. But the more Maya bragged about what she was doing, the harder it became to stay silent. What pushed her over the edge was the viral video Maya publicly humiliating me while simultaneously cheating behind my back. I couldn't watch her do that to you, Lila whispered. You didn't deserve any of this. I didn't trust my voice, so I simply nodded. After leaving the cafe, I walked along the river, trying to process the avalanche of information. The air smelled like cold water and rain-soaked pavement, and every step felt heavier than the last. I replayed everything I knew about our relationship, every trip, every fight, every moment she seemed distant or oddly energized after a work event. The puzzle pieces rearranged themselves into an image that made sense now. A picture I wished I'd never seen. Shame mixed with heartbreak until it became almost unbearable. When I got home, Maya still wasn't back. Her absence made the apartment feel cavernous, like the rooms themselves knew the truth before I did. I sat on the couch with the lights off, staring at the door as if waiting for an entirely different person to walk through it. My phone buzzed with more notifications, laughing emojis, supportive messages, others calling her out, but one stood out. It was another anonymous account. This one contained a single sentence and a photo of Maya and Nico inside a hotel lobby at midnight. The timestamp? Last night, while she told me she was taking time to cool off. And suddenly, it was no longer just betrayal. It was war. By Monday morning, exhaustion clung to me like a second skin. I hadn't slept more than an hour, but adrenaline kept my movements sharp and deliberate as I prepared for what I knew was coming. Maya still wasn't home when the sun rose, and the silence in the apartment felt mocking. Every corner reminded me of her perfume on the bathroom counter, her makeup scattered across the vanity, her half-finished iced matcha still sitting in the fridge like a ghost of the life we once shared. But the numbness I felt wasn't weakness anymore. It was purpose. I didn't plan revenge. Not at first. I genuinely just wanted answers. Closure. Something real after so many lies. But when I opened my phone and saw that Maya's viral post had exploded overnight, hitting nearly 2 million views, with thousands of new comments tagging me, mocking me, urging her to ditch the dead weight, something in me snapped. People were starting to dig into my profile, spreading rumors and making assumptions based on a 1-minute clip designed to humiliate me. And Maya hadn't made a single statement defending me, or even clarifying that it was meant as a joke. She let me burn. At noon, the door finally opened. Maya walked in wearing last night's clothes, hair messy, makeup smudged at the corners of her eyes. She looked startled to see me sitting on the couch, phone in hand. Her expression flickered annoyance, then guilt, then forced charm. "Hey," she said softly. "I didn't think you'd be home." I didn't respond, just watched her the way someone watches a stranger who looks vaguely familiar. She dropped her purse on the counter and approached me carefully, like she was testing the ground beneath her feet. "Listen," she began, and already I could hear it, the rehearsed tone, the calculated soft voice she used whenever she wanted to manipulate someone. "I know you've been upset about the video. I'm sorry, okay? I shouldn't have posted it without asking. Things just got out of hand." She reached out to place a hand on my shoulder, but I leaned away. Her eyes narrowed at the rejection. That was the moment she realized I wasn't playing along anymore. I told her I'd seen the messages, the photos, the late-night videos. At first she went pale, her breath hitching. But within seconds, her entire demeanor shifted. She rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, are you serious?" she snapped. It wasn't emotional. It was just networking. He has connections, and I needed those opportunities. She crossed her arms defensively. "You don't understand what it takes to grow a brand." Hearing her justify cheating as networking made my jaw clench so tight it hurt. When I mentioned the videos of her mocking average guys, she scoffed and waved it off. "People say stuff for content. It's funny. Everyone knows it's exaggerated." But she wouldn't look me in the eyes anymore. She paced the room, muttering excuses, half lies, and half-baked justifications, as if she could talk her way out of reality. Finally, when she realized none of it was working, she resorted to anger. "So what?" she shouted. "You're going to ruin everything I've built because you're hurt?" I didn't yell back. I didn't have to. The universe was already handling that for me. I showed her the anonymous messages, the ones from her old best friend, the screenshots, the timestamps, the damning truth that her double life wasn't as hidden as she believed. Watching her face crumble was surreal. She didn't deny the cheating anymore. She just panicked about the possibility of being exposed. "You can't tell anyone," she whispered, voice trembling. "Brands will drop me. My engagement will tank. You'll ruin my career." I met her eyes then. "You ruined your career." Before she could respond, her phone buzzed. She froze. Slowly, she unlocked it, and her face transformed into horror right before me. Someone had leaked a clip one of the videos where she mocked me and mocked her own followers. It was spreading fast. Pages were reposting it. Commentary accounts were stitching it. People weren't laughing with her anymore. They were furious. I watched her sink onto the floor, hands trembling as notification after notification poured in. Brand managers withdrawing offers, fans calling her cruel, influencers distancing themselves publicly. Every bridge she thought she burned behind her had suddenly lit up in front of her, instead her reputation unraveling thread by thread. But the worst blow came next. Someone posted a screenshot of her hotel night rendezvous with Nico. Not blurred, not cropped. Fully, unmistakably her. I didn't know who leaked it, but I had a feeling. She turned toward me with wild, desperate eyes, as if begging me to fix a disaster she created with her own hands. Then came the first sentence she'd spoken all day that wasn't a lie or an excuse. Please, please, tell me you didn't do this. I didn't. But someone did, and she was about to find out who. Maya's question hung in the air like smoke. Please tell me you didn't do this. Her voice cracked under the weight of fear, not remorse. She wasn't devastated because she hurt me. She was devastated because the world finally saw who she really was. I stood there, watching her tremble on the living room floor, mascara smudged, hair tangled, the polished influencer veneer stripped away completely. Part of me felt pity, but most of me felt something deeper, something steadier. Justice. I told her the truth. I hadn't leaked anything. Not a screenshot, not a message, not a whisper. At first, she didn't believe me, shaking her head over and over as if denial could rewind the last 48 hours. But when I reminded her I hadn't even replied to the anonymous accounts, she faltered. Slowly, she lowered the phone and stared at it like it contained a trap she fell into willingly. For the first time, she realized she had no idea who she could trust. Then her phone buzzed again, this time with a message from an unfamiliar number. She hesitated, then opened it. I saw the color drain from her face instantly. Her mouth parted in a soft, horrified gasp, and she turned the screen toward me with trembling hand. It was a text from Nico. I told you he was too soft to expose you, but someone else did. You shouldn't have messed with Lila. My chest tightened as I recognized the name. Lila hadn't just told me the truth. She told everyone. Maya scrambled to call her, fingers shaking so badly she nearly dropped the phone. But the call rang twice and then went straight to voicemail. Tears welled in her eyes, but not the type that came from guilt. These were tears of panic. She wouldn't, Maya whispered, clutching her phone like a lifeline. She's my friend. She would never ruin me like this. I didn't respond. Lila may have been her friend once, but even loyalty has a breaking point when betrayal runs too deep. When the next alert came, Maya clicked it automatically, expecting more chaos. But instead, a long post appeared, written by Lila herself. She had posted a thread exposing everything: the months of cheating, the manipulation, the bragging, the way Maya used her platform to mock me while living a double life with Nico. The tone of the post was heartbreaking and angry, filled with details only someone close to Maya could know. I watched her hurt the one person who always treated her with kindness, Lila wrote. I won't protect someone who destroys people for content. Within minutes, the thread began trending. Maya stared at the screen, jaw trembling, breath shallow. She ruined me, she whispered. My career. It's gone. She wasn't exaggerating. Dozens of brands commented publicly to announce they were terminating their contracts with her due to ethical breaches. Fans began mass unfollowing her. Influencer gossip pages dug up every questionable clip she had ever posted, and sponsors were demanding refunds for upcoming campaigns. Her reputation wasn't just damaged, it was incinerated. I sat down across from her, feeling strangely detached from the devastation unraveling around us. After everything she had done, the lying, the cheating, the public humiliation, her downfall felt inevitable. What surprised me was how little satisfaction I expected to feel. It wasn't triumph I felt watching her world collapse. It was clarity, closure, a reminder that karma doesn't need assistance. Sometimes It only needs a push. Maya shifted toward me, desperation filling her eyes. Please, don't leave, she whispered, as if the right plea might undo everything. I can fix this. We can fix this. Just help me. But the illusion of we had shattered days ago. The moment she chose public humiliation over honesty and a double life over loyalty. I looked at her, really looked, and saw someone who had never considered the consequences of her actions until they came crashing down on her. We're done, Maya, I said softly. I'm not your crisis manager. I'm not your backup plan. I'm the person you didn't think twice about hurting. The words felt like a release, a final severing of a bond that had been rotting for months. She let out a strangled sob, burying her face in her hands as her entire carefully curated world collapsed around her. I stood, grabbed the jacket I had left by the door, and walked out of the apartment without looking back. Outside, the air felt shockingly crisp, clean, different. As I walked down the steps, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Lila. I'm sorry it took so long, she wrote. She needed to be exposed. You didn't deserve any of what she did to you. I stared at the message for a long moment before typing a simple response. Thank you. Because she hadn't destroyed Maya's life, Maya had done that herself. As I reached the sidewalk, I finally let out a breath I didn't realize I had been holding. The one-sentence punchline belongs here. Maya tried to ruin my life online, but the internet decided to ruin hers instead.